Hello and welcome to the national debate. Viewers, the nation has witnessed an explosive face-off between not just the government and the opposition, but also the students of the country. After weeks of protests, Education Minister finally resigned last week, and there were a slew of measures that were introduced to ensure that the paper leak mafia won't be spared. But the focus has now shifted from the paper leak itself to the action taken against the students. While the July 20th protests did turn unruly, it is a fact that police personnel were also spotted using pellet guns, which is now under an internal investigation. Rahul Gandhi accused the Home Minister of ordering firing against students, while BJP has accused the Congress party of misleading the youth of the nation. Mallikarjun Kharge went a step further and said the Home Minister will be dragged out of the House, which drew fury of the Treasury benches. Today, on the national debate, we ask, who is treading on the path of accountability and who is treading on the path of anarchy? After all, the Congress says that it's seeking answers from the government for their actions, while the BJP claims it is the Congress that is trying to spread unrest across the country. But let's begin by putting the focus on the allegations of the use of pellet guns. After all, Times Now not only showed you videos where RAF troops were spotted with pellet guns, but we also spoke to victims who revealed how they were struck by law enforcement officers armed with pellet guns. Let me quickly introduce our panelists who are with us here in the studio. R.P. Singh is national spokesperson of the BJP. Amitabh Tiwari, author, is with us. Ishkaran Bhandari, advocate of Supreme Court, is with us. We have Wing Commander Anuma Acharya, retired spokesperson of the Congress Party. Chirag Sethi, spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party. Vivek Silas is national spokesperson of Samajwadi Party. And Subodh Mehta is spokesperson of the RJD. Now, Times Now, of course, has accessed the general diary entry earlier this week of the Delhi police, which revealed how a DCP rank level officer had given the clearance as far as the use of pellet guns on the 20th of July is concerned. Here's what Times Now revealed in our investigation. One is that there were 55 non-electrical shells that were authorized to be used, 15 electrical shells. It also goes on to talk about 5 tear smoke grenades as well as 2 anti-riot guns. Also, 2 plastic pellet rounds were also recorded as far as the general diary entry is concerned. Later, we heard the Supreme Court on this entire matter. The first observation is that can't ban pellet guns till legal provisions are changed. They've also gone on to observe that in exceptional cases, regulations permit use of pellet guns. They've also added that if you are interested in phasing out pellet guns, then you have to, of course, change and challenge the provision as ultra vires of Article 21. Your prayer should be that the court lays down protocol regarding the use of pellet guns, is what the Supreme Court has observed. Let's also go on to look at what has happened as far as the notice that has been issued. The first notice is that the centre has to place on record the order allowing graded use of these pellet guns. They further added that preserving the ammunition log of RAF of July 20th is important. They further said that they will lay down protocols and guidelines as far as usage of these pellet guns are concerned. They've also, in fact, let's go on to where all pellet guns have been used in India in the past and why its usage in the national capital becomes sensitive. In 2010, first time used in Jammu and Kashmir, introduced as a quote-unquote non-lethal measure. In 2023, the usage in Manipur was seen. 8 persons reported pellet gun injuries. In the 2024 farmers' protests as well, farmers alleged that the pellet guns were used by Haryana police and the other forces, and the claim is that it was happening in the Khanauri and Shambu borders. In 2010, it was used during the period of civil unrest. In 2023 in Manipur, authorities' response remains contested as far as the use of pellet guns themselves are concerned. Let's quickly open this up for debate, and R.P. Singh, let me begin by asking you, pellet gun use, the possibility of blinding people in Jammu Kashmir, it hasn't been used in Jammu Kashmir since 2015. Why would the forces use it in the national capital, and why did Delhi police deny it 6 times? They should have come out and said if they have used it, they should have admitted it.
Well, Delhi police has still not said that they have used it. It is the RAF which has used it. But let me just, before I start, let me show you a small video which is very important for you to understand, and that will make it clear.
लगातार एजिटेशन चल रहा है और कल जिस तरीके से बर्बर तरीके से उनके ऊपर लाठी चार्ज हुआ, क्या ये जायज था?
देखिए,
Just few seconds.
3 दिन से ये आंदोलन देख रहे। पहले
सुशील शिंदे जी
यहाँ राष्ट्रपति भवन के नजदीक यानी हमारे नॉर्थ विंग के यहाँ आ गए थे और बैरिकेड लगाया हुआ था। हम शांतिपूर्ण आंदोलन समझ सकते हैं क्योंकि शांतिपूर्ण आंदोलन करना ये हर नागरिक का एक अधिकार है। उसको हम अप्रिशिएट करते हैं और हम वो चाहते भी है शांतिपूर्ण आंदोलन। बट जब आंदोलन ये बैरिकेड तोड़ के राष्ट्रपति भवन के लिए चले जा रहे थे, तभी ही हमने उसे रोकने का काम किया।
But
राष्ट्रपति
give me a second now. Similar situation was there, rather even more dangerous situation was there. It was just 100 meters away from the parliament. I am no one to justify whether pellet guns should be used or not. I'm not the person on ground. It is the person on the ground who takes a call. But securing parliament is the duty of the police. God forbidden, if something would have happened to the parliament, there were elements who were unwanted element in the crowd. Had they entered the parliament and would have created some sort of ruckus or some...
But talking to protesters and preventing the protests is also the job of the government.
No, but talking was there. It was always at sea level. But give me a second, sir. Madhav, sir, I have participated in many protests myself. I led many protests myself. We used to lead from the front. Tell me, which of the CJP leader was there in the front of the protest? Name one. I give a challenge.
That is
important. That is important.
You can ask questions. You can ask questions of opposition. I have no problem.
Things go out of your control once you are not leading. Secondly, there are barricades. 1, 2, 3. Moment you cross one, police alarms you, and police would have alarmed them there also. But moment you cross two, police has to be in action because they can afford the people to cross
there are multiple questions
and enter the parliament.
Multiple questions here. Where was the intelligence failure? The mobilization was not known. Why was the engagement not done earlier to prevent? They were sitting on dharna for at least 3 weeks before the incident happened and Mr. Wangchuk was picked up. At that point of time, the government had not engaged them. Perhaps if they were engaged, things would not have come to such a pass.
Government was talking to them. The DCP concerned was already in talk with them. Let's go and talk. They were not in mood to talk.
DCP, this is the other way around because Mr. Nadda started talking to them very late in the day.
No.
Maybe a few days before it happened.
No. It was message was being sent to them. It was not that they were not talking to the police. They said nothing. They no, we will not talk to the government. It was only when Mr. Wangchuk was taken from there, then they started. But again, I reiterate, 1 second. I again reiterate, where was Abhijit Dipke, where was Ranka, where was Saurabh Das, and where was Afreen when the agitation was going on?
Where were protesters were not there, that's why things went out of hand. Your response, Vivek Salas.
I think, Madhav, the government should have taken an initiative long time, as you said. No? The government should have, or if the protesters were going towards the parliament, they should have called 10, 12 people from there inside the parliament, had a word with them. What was the use? What was the use of having, using the pellet gun? Please, RP Singh, that is the problem you have.
They were allowed people to walk into the parliament?
No. Okay, the government would have called 10, 12 people from the crowd and had a word with them. What was the problem with the government? That is what I am saying. Secondly, Mr. RP Singh, please let me speak.
Where were the leaders, sir?
Sir, let me speak. Sorry. As far as the parliament is, as far as the pellet guns is concerned, Madhav, the RAF was, under the Delhi police. They were taking instruction from the Delhi police. If you see the statement of RAF Chief Seema Dhundia, initially they denied, no, nothing has been used. We have not used the pellet gun. After it was in the public domain, it came and Rahul Gandhi bought that man and showed that where and how he was hit, even in the eye. Everything was revealed in front of it came in the public domain. So they had to admit. And secondly, RAF and CRPF, both are under the Home Ministry. So somewhere down the line, Madhav, it is a responsibility and definitely the Honorable Home Minister is accountable and he has to give the answer.
Okay,
because AK-47 was also fired it was not a Hawaii fire. It was taken in and students have been shot.
Yeah, but students were not shot. Students were not shot. The aim was taken. Yeah. But let's bring in. Let me go one by one. Ishkaran Bhandari, when it comes to the use of these pellet guns, the court has, of course, stated that there are certain provisions of extreme measure where it can be used. But was the graded response happening? What was the need to, in fact, bring in the pellet guns in the national capital when it has not been used for a decade, with the sole exception of Manipur, anywhere else in the country, and certainly in mainland India, as opposed to troubled areas, one cannot expect the same yardsticks will be used. So this is certainly a very problematic area. Point number one. Point number two, I want you to comment on this, is that, end of the day, how did things get so out of control that police had to use these extreme measures? Surely preventive measures could have been taken.
So there are two parts to this debate. Because we are discussing democracy, let's see what US does if you try to storm the Capitol. When Donald Trump lost the election, but he was still the sitting president, there were demonstrations, Jan 6, who tried to storm the Capitol. One of the persons, the protesters, died by the bullet fired by the Capitol police. 1,500 were criminally prosecuted. What is their capital is our parliament. So please first put things in perspective. Every government has to protect certain sensitive installations. That's point number one. Point number two, in any state, if you try to storm the CM's house, the response is 10 times worse than this, and we all know that. You can list out Congress states or you can list out other states. But what happens here now? There is a third aspect. Should pellet guns be used? Absolutely not. That is the protocol. It is not to be used unless there are exceptional circumstances where you feel that the force may be overwhelmed, or where you feel that some massive danger may be caused, or you are in a sensitive location like the parliament. And that is what is the subject of the entire case before the Supreme Court. Was this a graded response? Was this not a graded response? That has to be tested now. What was the people on ground? What were they feeling? If you saw a fellow police officer being lynched, or you saw an ACBB meeting, would that be constituting a ground? Would that not constitute a ground? That is what has to be gone into, because I sitting here cannot define what a police officer there felt. Later, the police officer's action are tested in a court of law, and if they are not correct, they face the consequences. If they are correct, they are approved. That is what happens with any police action, and that's the norm. So let's not go out of the norms of democracy where there is a graded response. And a part of that graded response is not only pellet guns. In certain cases, we see live fire also being done. We used to see that. That is why this pellet gun came, so that live fire doesn't happen against protesters. So it is all a part of what was the threat perception, what was happening, what was the target. And one point is very important. I will end by saying that. We saw celebrities coming there, speaking, mocking gods like a comedian, or leaders of the protest. But there were also, now it's come out, almost 3,000 criminals there with murder cases, rape cases, etc. So what is the police supposed to do in a crowd when you have identified criminal elements who have an ulterior purpose, who are using good faith actors like students, and have a plan to storm the parliament? What does the police do? I leave it to the audiences.
All right. Anumacharya, I want you to come in on this. There was a graded response is what he is saying. Was that response followed? Of course, it's questionable. But one of the arguments of those who are pro the pellet guns is that it's better than firing live ammunition and bullets which can take a life. Your response to Ishkaran.
Good evening to you and the viewers. Basically, I feel that this protest march was called on by Mr. Sonam Wangchuk, but he was given a safe passage by the government. He was lifted from that place and he was taken to another destination. I am asking the same question what you asked, that why it was allowed to escalate to that level. Why the government did not depute a minister or somebody from the BJP? They could have come, they could have heard their problems. I thought it is exactly like the farmers' protest. Nobody spoke to the farmers for first 3 months, not even the Minister of Agriculture. He did not speak. And by the time they started understanding, thinking that they are not heard, then everything was escalated. Similarly here, I think it's government's plan to escalate the entire thing, to project in a manner to the country that these people are going to spoil the area. Why a person couldn't come from the government side to take their whatever plea they had? They could have taken it in time. And I think when it is very clear in front of the police that they cannot use lethal weapons, they cannot use it on the vital organs, and they have to use the minimum force. In that case, why have they used it? And then they denied it. The Delhi Police and Rapid Action Force, both are not on the same page. Their general diary, which you have already shown, they said the pellets have been fired. Delhi Police has been denying. The DCP says he was not there, but the general entry says that he has given the orders. So either they are trying to mislead the entire country, and I think it is all government planned thing. I do not think it has been done by the students, because if people say that they were antisocial elements, then I must ask, people who came without uniform, without name tally, with the police, who were using brutal force.
But do you deny that some lumpen elements could have entered the crowd? Because the police themselves says there are 2,800 persons. Just a second, please. 2,800 persons have been identified by the FRS software who have criminal antecedents, including those who have multiple criminal cases, heinous crimes such as murder, sexual assault, etc.
They are projecting their own failure. That means police was there and was not doing anything. They have allowed them to enter. Was that again a plan? Because I have been watching this. Wherever there is any state, any election has to happen, somebody is pelting stones, somebody is doing something, and at the end of it, after the election, when the BJP takes over, in my home state, Madhya Pradesh, that happened. That they said in the Ram Julus, there was a stone pelting by somebody in Ujjain.
But Dipke had also denied Aadhaar verification.
4 months later,
Abhijit Dipke also denied police, using that Aadhaar verification. That's also a fact. Perhaps they could have identified crowd like that.
But my question here is, how come those people without uniform, without name tally, they were with the police? What was their intention? What was the intention of police?
It's an important charge. Okay, it's an important question. Men in mufti holding lathis, men in uniform without name tagging. Therefore, no accountability and huge violation of police norms. Respond to her, please.
Firstly, let me come to everything was police sajish, including 3,000 people there. Reminds me of 26/11 RSS ki sajish. The minute you would have stopped people from coming there. Let me finish. Ma'am, I didn't interrupt you. Ma'am, I didn't interrupt you.
Let him make his point.
Ma'am, you made your point. I didn't interrupt you. So as I said, everything 26/11 was completely RSS ki sajish. Wo to Tukaram Omble ji, and I hope BJP gives him a Bharat Ratan. I don't know why they don't give him. Who caught a person live by giving a supreme sacrifice. Otherwise, it would have become RSS ki sajish. They were Congress leader who released the book also. But be that as it may be, let's come on this case and focus on this. So the minute you would have stopped people because they are criminals from coming there, it would have been a case. You are stopping students. We saw people who were dancing on stage, who came there as students and raised vilest of abuses as being students. So how do you segregate? You segregate only by policing, but you did not want that to happen. Now the second aspect, once criminals are there, as I started by saying that, those criminals were threat to genuine students also. But we were very happy happening there, and if something had happened to a genuine student there via these criminals, that would have also been police ki sajish, because everything was police ki sajish. Then the third aspect, the minute, as I said, what was the call given? Go attack the parliament. Parliament jana hai, Sansad ko khad फेंकना है, नेपाल बनाना है. Once you have a stated aim of that on camera, why was the protest not called off then and there and said, no, ये statement आ रही हैं, हम ये statement के साथ नहीं धरना करेंगे, ये statement से march नहीं करेंगे, let the government reach out. Why can you aim and...
One by one. Okay, let me come into Chirag City. I'm coming to each of you one by one because many have not made opening comments. Chirag City, there was a dharna in Punjab. Teachers, they were asking for their salaries. They were lathi charged. Similar scenes have been seen in different other opposition ruled states as well. I'm not saying it doesn't happen in BJP states, of course it happens. But why no outrage over there about police action or police excess?
Okay, so I was there. I saw for 25 days the students were sitting there. Nobody from the government went there. They wanted to talk. Nobody was there. When they realized on the 20th that there was a lot of crowd that is coming to Jantar Mantar, they sent their first invitation that let's come and talk. Now, who were there? They were students. There are 12-year-old kids whose skull have been broken by the police brutality. There was a SHO who was shoving something towards a private part of a girl. That is on the video. Everybody has seen all of that. Pellet guns were used. Why? Because these students were asking accountability. Why? This egoistic government never wanted to answer the questions about NEET. The students were just asking, why are you not letting the minister resign? What are the reforms about the NEET exam? But they never wanted to answer all of that. They resort to police brutality. Now, when the police brutality videos came out, they said no pellet guns were used. अच्छा, यहाँ अभिजीत दीप के बाहर नहीं निकला, बिहार में भी वो जाता, इसीलिए वहां पे AK-47 चलाई थी आरपी सिंह जी के हिसाब से, तो कि इसीलिए वो वहां नहीं था तो हमने वहां पे AK-47 चला दी. मतलब आप ये कैसी बातें कर रहे हो कि हमने चलाया, किसी को एम नहीं किया था. You know how the projectile of the bullet works. It can always go and hurt anybody. The problem here is they do not want to take this blame, but they are responsible for it. And on the 16th of July, there was a massive accident that happened between a truck and an eco car. That truck was placed at the Jantar Mantar on the 20th with stones. Whose responsibility?
Delhi police has clarified that was part of an accident and they didn't have place in the Parliamentary.
And it is on the diary.
You don't have to believe the explanation. I am not hiding any fact. Delhi police has given a clarification. So you are asking a question, sir. You are asking a question. I am not a spokesperson for Delhi police. I am just saying they have given a clarification. But let me bring in on the issue of accountability, Amitabh. Amitabh, this is what Dr. Jitendra Singh says in Parliament on 29 July. Goli nahi chali, sirf tear gas ka istemal hua tha. Now the documents of the general diary that we show clearly clearly show that on 20th there was an instruction by a DCP rank officer to fire the non-electrical shells and other armaments, including 2 rounds of plastic pellets. So how does the government explain this contradiction?
No, this clearly shows that it was an evolving situation and there was some lack of coordination between the government and the people who were handling the protests on the ground. See, it is a rare incident. The use of pellets should be used rarely. You have students protesting, so you should also use it more rarely in that sense. But as Ishkaran has mentioned, we also need to be cognizant of the fact that we have had a parliament attack in which many security forces had to give up their life and they saved most of the MPs there. So even after that parliament attack, do we have a special or an SOP to handle such protests close to the parliament? That should be the first thing. Secondly, when RAF, which is not usually deployed in Delhi, when such institution is deployed, have they got the correct briefing of how do they need to handle? Because there were many multiple bodies who are involved here, RAF, Delhi Police, Home Ministry, etc. So I think there was some lack of coordination because it was a very evolving situation and we need to do it in a better way. This has given us a chance.
Okay, Subodh brother, come into this, because if there are illegal elements who have come in, criminal elements who have come in, how do we control the crowd? That's a pertinent question that Amitabh Tiwari is asking, because end of the day, police's job is what? Police's job is to prevent parliament from being stormed in by these protesters, because if these protesters are seen on video breaking barricades, as RP Singh says, none of the CJP leaders were there at that point of time, and therefore the crowds went completely out of control. That Sansad Chalo march ended up meaning that there were tens of thousands of people in New Delhi all of a sudden.
Ji, I am very surprised what Amitabh Tiwari has said. He is comparing the student protest with the parliament attack, and it's the same. You know why the students were protesting? They were protesting because the student have lost, the government has lost credibility and trust, and that is the reason why the students were on the road. And the students were on the road, not on 20th July. Why the government was silent? Government want to silence the student and their trust, which have been lost by the government by gun and pellet guns and AK-47. This government is run by the bullets, not by the words. Neither they want to discuss it in the parliament, neither they want to discuss outside. That was the reason why, I was also there, and I think you were also there on the, in front of the Prime Minister's residence. Along with the Congress party, the RJD was there. And we all said that, the way the police has handled this protest, it reflects the, the core values of, Bharatiya Janata Party and the Treasury Band. Time and again, Amit Shah ji, the Home Minister, has failed this country. Whether you take a farmer protest or the student protest, Prime Minister and Amit Shah is not coming to the parliament. On the entrance of the parliament, they give bites, but they do not enter in the parliament and answer the questions of the opposition. So this government is primarily using the pellet guns and the weapon to...
So how should the crowd have been controlled? Crowd should have been allowed to enter the parliament according to you?
No. Look, it's a total failure of the Home Ministry. Why they were not...
How would they have had a success according to you? What should they have done?
No, they should have allowed to come near to the parliament.
Near to parliament?
No one...
Tens of thousands of people. What if they entered parliament?
It's only 500 meters away from the parliament gate, the Jantar Mantar.
Yes.
No one was going inside the parliament.
Of course, they were breaking barricades and coming, sir. What else would the police have done?
See,
is their question.
In every protest, there is a break of a barricade, but that doesn't mean that you will fire a pellet gun.
Okay.
That doesn't mean that you will,
there are other methods. I'm going to allow that question. And Ishkaran, let me ask you a simple question. One second. I'm asking you a technical. 1 minute. Please just give me 1 minute. I have a technical point and I want to ask Ishkaran this. On the issue of pellet guns, I've been going through some of the documentation that is available. 2011 BPRD SOP, 1989 Delhi Police Standing Order, 2022 Standing Order. None of these SOPs mention the express use of pellet guns. I even went to the BPRD website last night. The website incidentally is down due to certain cyber security concerns. The point is, when government comes out and says that there should be a graded, response program, why should the SOP not be made public? It's not out there at all.
No, why should the SOP be made public, or what the government's response will be with a violent mob? You need to have some amount of secrecy in how you will deal. Otherwise, people will plan against that graded response. So what should be public and what should be secret depends on the level of mob. Supposing you give the entire blueprint of what the government's plan of action would be if a violent mob storms. The violent mob will find a circular route around it. So, of course, you have to maintain operational secrecy. That's the sine qua non of dealing with any urban warfare or any urban violent protest situation. So, I'm not surprised with that. Maybe even the Supreme Court, they will give it in a sealed cover. Very often you submit documents, we submit documents to the honorable courts in a sealed cover because something should not come out in public light. So, whether the court feels it should be in sealed cover, court receives it. When the court feels, no, this is not to be in sealed cover, court gives it out. But at the very least, this is a question of security. And prima facie questions of security, the courts say, have to be maintained secret.
Okay, Arvacharya.
One thing, I have serious objections when he says violent mob. They were unarmed students. I would insist that they would have, the government would have done a better homework by negotiating with them beforehand. And it is all designed that it should lead to a chaos. This is how the BJP does. Every time any protest happens, they want to put them in a dim light, in a light when people can say that they are anti-national and all. This is a labeling which BJP starts every time. So I insist that they would have...
But Commander Anumacharya, may I ask you, during the Baba Ramdev crackdown at Ramlila Maidan, were there armed protesters? In the Nirbhaya protests outside the same area, India Gate, and I was physically standing there, everybody was being lathi charged. Were they all armed protesters? Police then also cracked down on them.
See, those people, when they have come for protesting, they were protesting against a wrong cause and they were just trying to build up a narrative.
Wrong cause. Nirbhaya was a wrong cause.
No, not Nirbhaya. I am talking about the Anna against corruption. They talked about, look, I am not talking about, please do not do this. It's not again a mob mentality. Can you just stop him?
No, one second. How is Anna a wrong cause? They are also asking for corruption. One second. They are also asking for action on corruption just as you are over here.
All I am saying is they were talking about whatever cause, but Mr.
Please take back that wrong cause statement. I don't think it's
I am not talking about wrong cause for Nirbhaya. I am not saying that.
You're saying Anna Hazare is a wrong cause.
Anna Hazare was, of course, because it was all manipulated by Vivekananda Foundation. Everybody has seen
the What is the difference? Please answer my question. What is the difference in what Anna Hazare has done and what CJP has done today at Jantar Mantar? They are also seeking accountability of the government. At the end of the day, Anna Hazare was also seeking accountability for acts of corruption. Why should the two? Why should that be a wrong cause? Because it doesn't suit you politically.
No, it's not that. But everybody knows about what was the role of Vivekananda Foundation in the entire gimmick. Everybody has seen the photograph, how it was stage managed and how.
So why was your government dealing with them? Why was your government dealing with them? Why did you pass the Lokpal bill then, madam, after the India Against Corruption?
How in the last 12 years, not even a single charge was proven. And in the court of law.
That's a separate debate. No. You're saying his cause is wrong. How are you saying that cause is wrong when the government has negotiated with them?
Just kind of creating
you expect, no, these are double standards, ma'am. One second. These are double standards because you expect the central government of the BJP to negotiate with protesters of the CJP. But when it comes to Anna Hazare, that Andolan is wrong.
The Anna Hazare protest was later, everybody came to know that Vivekananda Foundation as playing pivot role in the same thing. And then whatever they were talking about, the corruption charges, all of that was proven incorrect. So
is Vivekananda Foundation an illegal organization? How is it a wrong cause?
I'm saying it was behind it. Ajit Doval was the president of that, and then all the PJP
so that's
leaders,
not wrong. That's a political cause. It's
leaders.
A democracy, ma'am. Democratic parties are allowed to function. Just as you are allowing this protest, there can't be double standards.
That government.
Okay, I want RP Singh to respond. 1 second, RP Singh.
Well, if you want me to play a video, but I can play the video.
No more videos. Answer the question.
I'm answering that. Saurabh Bhardwaj said there to a YouTuber, हम ढूंढ कर खाटी के लोग लेकर आए हैं. मोदी जी इनका कुछ नहीं उखाड़ सकते. Was it planned or unplanned? Question. Very straight question. Secondly, how can we forget 7 November 1966? When similar situation, bullets were fired. There were hundreds of thousands which were killed. Government accepted 7, but there were more than that. And thousands were injured by the bullet fire of the government of India at that time. Well, how do you justify? It's the person who on the situation, he takes a call. He takes a cause on how to deal with the situation. Yeah. It's not that sitting in an AC room or sitting in a studio we decide on it. One. Secondly, Madhav, I again reiterate, had someone entered the parliament, then what was the situation? And also, Rahul Gandhi was, give me another second. Rahul Gandhi was negotiated with, Jitendra Singh ji went to Rahul Gandhi to talk to him at the Prime Minister's house. He said nothing.
Outside the Prime Minister's residence, outside local landmark, we were all there. Govind Mohan was also
come and join him. At that time, police took action of picking him from there. Was the police right or wrong?
Okay, let me now, once again, let me now bring in the next. I'm coming to each of you one by one. Let's now get into the other talking points which are also extremely crucial. What exactly was happening inside Parliament? Because the statements inside Parliament, if outside Parliament has caused so much controversy, what happened inside Parliament has been equally controversial, and we're telling you why. Look at some of the statements that were made. There were, in fact, statements that were made. Rahul Gandhi saying Home Minister Shah ordered firing on students. We're also seeing Mallikarjun Kharge saying we'll drag Home Minister out and bring him before the people. Now, are these statements really statements that are acceptable? Becomes a very important question in that light. Let's also look at what else has happened and what else has been stated against the Home Minister. If HM ordered police action, then he's culpable, is what Rahul Gandhi says. Let's bring in the next set of quotes. If HM wasn't aware, then he is incompetent. Another statement of Rahul Gandhi, Home Minister answerable in both these cases. Again, Rahul Gandhi, why is the Home Minister not in the House? So, some of those questions, of course, valid. Some of those questions extremely controversial. What are the other statements that we've seen? Gaumutra face-off, where Priyanka Gandhi Vadra comes out to say that cow urine experts are part of the NEET task force. Anurag Thakur, BJP MP, says great scientists and professors are being insulted inside the Parliament. We've also seen Priyanka Gandhi Vadra saying, what do they know about education? Whereas, of course, Mr. Kamkoti's credentials are being quoted by the BJP, saying that Gandhis are consuming something else. Priyanka Gandhi, of course, saying government should change advisors. Anurag Thakur says they should consume cow urine instead, so on and so forth. This is how this debate has gone on as far as the statements inside the House. Let me start first and foremost with Wing Commander Anuma Acharya. Is it correct? It's obviously the opposition has to hold the government accountable. Nobody can, say that there's something wrong with that. But in doing so, saying that we'll drag out the Home Minister, saying that Home Minister ordered the firing, are those politically correct statements to make without any evidence?
My background is from the Indian Air Force. So if somebody is responsible, he is accountable too. So in that case, if the pellet gun firing has happened, and it cannot happen, the government, the officials, the administration is not competent enough to just take their own decision. This is what we do in the armed forces, so I know the system takes that. And in armed forces also, if the president orders something, that comes through the channel. So it doesn't happen that in the unarmed students, a police person can take the decision. So it is either it is Home Minister who has ordered himself, because he is the authority, and if he has not ordered and it has been fired, definitely he is incompetent. Then he doesn't know what is happening around him. So this is what is my take on this. Now dragging him in the Parliament and whatever, it is all symbolic. This is how it is.
This is symbolic. That
because
is
Prime Minister can speak, Mangal Sutra chura lenge, bhains utha le jayenge. All of it is symbolic, isn't it?
Okay.
He talks about the Jersey cow and all sorts of things. So what is it?
Okay,
so
equal number of controversial statements coming from the side of the BJP, from the side of the Prime Minister. That's the Congress's response. Ishkaran, would you like to respond?
Okay, I will. Political debates outside in the public domain, different. What you say in the Parliament stands something different. It holds something different, differently. But what was Mr. Kharge saying? Ghaseet kar le jayenge. When Mr. Rahul Gandhi, when he was sitting outside protest, sab log yahan aa jao, kathe ho jao, hum nahi jayenge. What are you up to? You couldn't go to Jantar Mantar. You couldn't take some few steps to go to Jantar Mantar. You're asking us, why didn't we negotiate it? But they could have also gone to Jantar Mantar. Rahul Gandhi could have gone to Jantar Mantar. Nahi jayenge Jantar Mantar na.
Government, why will opposition will go? When the question is from you, from the government, then why do you want opposition to take that on? Is Mr. Rahul Gandhi Prime Minister?
No, but you saw Samajwadi Party go, left parties went, Aam Aadmi Party went. Why not the Congress Party?
We were as such taking up their case from 3 months hence. And I personally, I was detained in the police on 30th May in Bhopal.
So was Mr. Pawan Khera wrong?
We were doing nationwide.
Pawan Khera who went there was wrong according to you?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that why do you want
opposition
to go? But the protest was, see, they were seeking something from the government. And government could have gone, this is democracy. They could have gone to these students. What was so wrong with that? Why can't this be a point?
No, of course it's a point. We started the debate with a point, but the point is also about accountability. And let me bring that question across to Vivek Salas. Do you agree with the kind of language that has been used inside the House? Mallikarjun Kharge se kheech ke le jayenge. Home Minister ne goli marne ke aadesh diye. Is that correct?
The basic question should be today, Madhav, is why the Home Minister is absconding.
No, that is what it should be. I also agree with you. It's what it should be. But the question is, were these questions correct? That's the debating point right now.
No, dragging him out is not a very parliamentary language. I don't agree with that. But I think the Home Minister is accountable. He should come out in the Parliament and give the answers. Because the whole country is looking at the moment what the Home Minister has to say. Because at the end of the day, the Delhi Police, the CRPF, the RAF, all comes under the Home Ministry. Even if you see in Manipur nothing, it's still burning. Obviously, we feel that although Mr. Amit Shah has a shady past, we all know that. He should come out and say at least.
No, you should question Amit Shah. I don't have a problem with that.
We have to question him. Yeah. He thought, just a minute. Actually, Madhav, just give me 10-20 seconds more.
No, you can't cast a press like this.
What?
No, tell me. No, not at all. He has been cleared by the court. He has been cleared by the court. He has been cleared by the court.
He was a talipar.
I'll
say 100 times.
He was cleared by the court.
I will say 1,000 times.
He was cleared by the court.
You cannot stop me. Come on. They were thinking actually.
Let's go over.
They were thinking that we are going to suppress this protest like they did in the farmers' protest where 700 of our farmers died, And if you see the example of our female wrestlers, the same thing was happened. They were pulled out from the hairs and taken by the Delhi police. That was also under the regime of, the tenure of the same Home Minister. Can you deny that? Okay. You cannot.
Okay. R.P. Singh.
Well, it's very sad that he used such foul language as the Home Minister of the country when he has been cleared by the court, where we all know that Tipu, Akhilesh Yadav, how did he treat his father at the last stage? I mean, we have seen videos of that record. There are videos of that on record. But I don't want to indulge into this. But again, using foul language is one. Using the language which can lead to anarchy is the habit of the Congress party now. As I said, even that at the protest at the Prime Minister's house, he said, "Aajao, sab ikkathe ho jao. Yahin se sab chalega," because he wanted to build up a parallel Jantar Mantar outside Prime Minister's house that time. And also, Kharge Saab, such a senior man, I really have appreciated his giving at least 2 suggestions, which was positive in this debate. But otherwise, his debate was all, which has no content at all, which was all about anything.
But did you see a difference between the speech of Rahul and Akhilesh inside the Parliament? Was there a difference in the speech of the two? Because there's a reason that Rahul was not allowed to complete his speech. Just now you were saying that Akhilesh has the certain behavior of Akhilesh, but Akhilesh's speech was quite different in terms of language.
But Rahul, when did Rahul spoke about the bill? Did he spoke a word? Did he utter a word about the bill? This is what happened in 2024 also. When the bill was introduced for the first time, they never even participated in that bill. Now even this time they never, tell me, 1 comma, semicolon, full stop had been added by either of the two.
Okay, you have not answered my question, but yes. So both respond to that. When the issue is of the bill, why take away from such an important issue on which students are so incensed? At the end of the day, you should be debating this bill because the same bill was brought in by the UPA government, of course, which your party was also a part of, I believe in 2011.
Madhav, look, this bill is just a cosmetic change. What was the bill in Examination Act 2024? Nothing more than that. Just imprisonment 2-3 years more and some,
10 lakhs to 10 crore fines is not a small amount, it's a huge amount.
It's a huge amount, but looking to the larger aspect of the trust deficit of the government and the student. And when we went to the Prime Minister's residence, instead of closing the door, he should simply called us, have a cup of tea and go. And when you compare the Anna Hazare movement, the Manmohan Singh government formed a committee, never used any, gun on the protesters. And the committee was led by none other than the Pranab Mukherjee and Kapil Sibal. And here none of the ministers were, talking
What is JP
to
Nadda? What is JP Nadda? Is he not a minister?
On 20th, when there was a pellet gun.
Ministers finally engaged. Don't ministers didn't engage at all. Ministers finally engaged.
It was even Jitendra Singh was there at the residence of the Prime Minister with Rahul Gandhi.
Yes, so Rahul Gandhi. Ministers did engage. You are saying none of the ministers engaged. But these are clearly ministers who have engaged.
Dear, but that was on 20th July. And when the gun was already pelted, and when we were on the roads, the government is not very happy when there is a slogan raised against the government.
Coming one hour. The government was forced into a corner. They should have done this negotiation much before. And it's the fact that it was after the violence broke out that the negotiations became serious.
No, I mean, any government is pressurized by Sankhya Bal. So if they felt that the Sankhya Bal is not huge and they could manage it, they perhaps let it be. But when they realized that 20,000, 25,000, whatever that number is, people have come, and this is a genuine issue of the students because the NEET paper leak is just a trigger point. The larger issues are unemployment, lack of jobs, threat of AI on careers of students, etc. So that is when they started negotiations with the students, because they are ultimately an important vote block also. Now, sir is saying that all the changes in the bill have been cosmetic. If they were cosmetic, then what are the changes which the opposition has introduced? Have they introduced any adjournment? Have they presented a parallel bill to the students?
Wait for some time.
No, that's a separate. One second. Have you read what the provisions of the bill are?
Yeah, definitely.
How much was the jail term earlier and how much is it now?
3 years, it has gone to 5 years.
No, it was 3 to 5. It is 5 to 8.
5 to 7.
It has doubled. 5 to 7. Yes, so it has doubled. And how long will the trial take now?
It's a fast code.
So that's 3 months. Let me educate you, it's 3 months.
No.
Whereas trials have been, the exact complaint was 2024 case, 2 years, nothing has happened. Now if it is happening in 6 months, one second. If the punishment is going to happen, if the punishment is going to happen speedily, if you have a fast track court, why would you object to a fast track court?
In the POSCO case, how many cases are on the fast track? More than 2 lakh cases are on the fast track. When the intention is not to give justice to the student. What will
you intention not to give justice to? Is that the intention? Because the legal system has failed according to them.
See, that's a completely separate debate. Has the legal system failed or not failed? And then there is also the debate of how much resources we give to the legal system across the government. It's not something which is new. In fact, this government has increased the strength of the Supreme Court. So let's not be on that ground. But what is more important here is there are 2 aspects. One, what is the constructive suggestion? I would be very happy for this debate, or the parliament actually, not this debate, to have come out with, we want this as a part of the law. And my speech as a leader of opposition is that please bring these provisions, because बाहर लड़ते रहेंगे, यहाँ पे बच्चों के लिए हम एक law बना रहे हैं. So add these 2-3 clauses. The government, if there were good clauses, should have added. If they are not adding it, because opposition said we could have discussed it on TV, that this is the provision you need to make. But what did we have? And I will just play one point, which is very important. I am not bothered about what Mr. Kharge said, what Mr. Rahul Gandhi said. I think the most vile speech was when there is a jibe at Gaumutra expect to a respected professor. And why is that important? I will just add one more part to it. You know the global context where certain words are used to demean certain communities. Like in US, if you wear a white tent with slit in the eye, that's Ku Klux Klan, which killed African Americans. Like in Germany, you can't have a Nazi salute. You know how many Pakistani terrorists have done the same Gaumutra jibe. So suddenly, out of no context, discussing an eminent professor, you bring a Gaumutra jibe. To me, that is the more
I want Anumacharya to answer this. Vinkavanna Anumacharya, in 2022, the Bhupesh Baghel government included a scheme. This is a scheme to procure cow urine, promoted its benefits, even presented state budgets in briefcases that were made from cow dung. How does Priyanka Gandhi's jibe then reconcile with Bhupesh Baghel? Is he also a Gaumutra expert? Is he also a Gaumutra expert by that yardstick?
First of all, we should talk about the suggestions. So, Mr.
No, answer the question. Don't run away from
I
this
shall
question.
answer that. But Mr. Murli Manohar Joshi, their own leader, has given them certain suggestions. Have they implemented that? Mrs. Sonia Gandhi on the 24th.
No, we are on the specific point.
Question.
This Gaumutra jibe of Priyanka Gandhi was made on the floor of the House, ma'am, and therefore he has raised a point as to whether this is pertinent or not. We are discussing these 3-4 specific statements. Please answer that.
Mr. Bhupesh Baghel has implemented that for the agriculture, and like he has implemented 3 more schemes in that. So that was basically to give them
Why would you ignore Mr. Kamakoti's academic credentials just because of one comment that he has made on this? Because if you're going to then demolish his reputation, then your own leaders then stand exposed.
Point here is stop labeling people, because what has happened, these people, no, I am saying, all I am saying is when as soon as BJP came, people have started labeling, this is Tukre gang, this is secular, this is that, and then they started calling anti-national. Do they have some kind of dealership of franchisee to distribute the certificates of nationalism?
But Tukre slogans were chanted over there, to be fair.
Basically, it is
जलेबी भी इतना गोल गोल नहीं घूमती जितना आपके सवाल पे अभी गोल गोल घुमा गया कि गौमूत्र जाइब क्यों गया, लेबली नहीं होती. In parliament it's been discussed.
The parliament comments you don't want to discuss, it's fine. She's right. Exactly. This is the challenge.
How much amount this government is securing for researches? Nothing. Everywhere they talk about Gaumutra. Everybody is there. A lot of MPs they talk about Gaumutra. But how much they are spending on researches? So if that is a point made, basically it is because you are not giving any scientific temperament which is as per our constitution.
RP Singh.
Well, he is a scientist. The person against whom they have charged of Gaumutra. He has 150 papers on his name, the published papers, and acknowledged. But issue is not Gaumutra, Madhav. Issue is they have to hit Sanatana at any cost. Absolutely. They have to prove that they are anti-Sanatana, and Sanatana is something like a bullshit. I mean, they shit.
Language.
What does
idea is to defame Sanatan Dharma at any cost. Respond.
चंदा चोर पार्टी तो ये ना बोले तो अच्छा है. इनकी पार्टी में ना एक प्रॉब्लम है. जिस मंत्री का डिपार्टमेंट है वो अपना काम नहीं करता. पेट्रोल का सवाल पूछो तो गडकरी जी आ जाएंगे. एजुकेशन का सवाल पूछो तो नड्डा जी आ जाएंगे. आप पुलिस ब्रुटैलिटी का सवाल पूछेंगे तो अमित शाह जी नहीं आएंगे. प्रॉब्लम है 2 बार पेपर लीक हुआ. एनटी की कितनी मीटिंग्स हुई है 3 साल में? 2 बार. That's it. 234 people sanctioned strength. 150 plus people have been outsourced. They have been fired. Nobody was fired from this governing council. Has anybody talked about this? CBT-based testing was announced in 2024. This
Arvind Kejriwal wanted to make Sonam Wangchuk the education minister. पंजाब का बना दीजिए education minister.
जिस दिन हमारे यहाँ होगा हम करेंगे.
आपकी सरकार है.
बिल्कुल है.
आप क्यों नहीं बना सकते?
पेपर लीक हुए पंजाब में 6 पेपर लीक हुए.
पेपर लीक नहीं हुआ.
One second, allow me. That's my next talking point. One second, gentlemen, calm down. Just calm down. 1 minute. 1 minute, please calm down. Let's take a look at all the paper leaks across the country. So, because if there's a yardstick for the central government, that same yardstick for all democratically elected governments across the country has to be maintained if there is the principle of accountability we are talking about. What are we saying? We're talking about Himachal Pradesh HPCC Junior Office Assistant exam in 2022 scrapped. What about accountability over here? Next state, Jharkhand JSSE Combined Graduate Level Exam 2024. This was also scrapped. What about, just a second, please calm down. There is also Punjab BAF UHS Pharmacy Officer 2026. So far not scrapped, but very serious allegations about this paper. Also the PSSSB Group P Officers Exam 2025 on hold at the moment. There is also the PPSC ADO exam 2024. Government claims no leak, but this has been extremely controversial. There's other exams in Punjab as well. We're talking about Karnataka, where the KPSC Veterinary Officer 2026 exam is on hold at the moment. There are other states as well. Let's quickly bring up the other states if we can. Okay, let's look at some of the other states. This is Maharashtra. These are NDA rule states where Teachers Eligibility Test 2026 has also been scrapped. There is also other states of Maharashtra, Talati, recruitment exams of 2023. At the moment not scrapped, but serious questions. UP Police Constable Recruitment 2024. This exam has been scrapped. In Uttar Pradesh, the UP PSC RO/ARO 2024 exam has been scrapped. In Madhya Pradesh, the Patwari Recruitment Exam 2023. In Gujarat, the Junior Clerk Recruitment Exam 2023 has been scrapped. In Uttarakhand, the graduate level exam and the Patwari Lekpal exam of 2022-2023. In Odisha, and this news just came out on Friday morning, medical PG exam of 2026, which has come under the scanner. The authorities claim there is no leak, but there has been a security breach. What that means, God only knows. But the question that I want to bring out very quickly, Chirag, I want you to answer this. You claim there is no leak. There are multiple leaks that I've just cited.
Agree.
And why have those exams been scrapped then?
High Court says there is no leak. You don't want to listen to the High Court. For the pharmacy exam, 33 people were arrested. It was a cheating. Cheating and paper leak are two different things. Do you agree or not?
Of course.
Do you agree or not?
One second. Why is Bhagwat Maan on record in 2020? In fact, let's just 2023 to July 26, गड़बड़ी हुई to गड़बड़ी एक भी गड़बड़ी नहीं हुई. Who do we believe? That Bhagwat Maan or this Bhagwat Maan?
Paper leak and cheating are two different things. But RP Singh ji is here. I'm asking, हरियाणा में जो पेपर लीक हुआ है, एजुकेशन मिनिस्टर कौन है? सिर्फ एजुकेशन मिनिस्टर बता दे कौन है? हमारा तो सबको पता है. पंजाब का कौन है? और उन्होंने ऑन रिकॉर्ड आके बोला है. किस स्टेट के मिनिस्टर ने आके बोला है कि मैं इसकी क्लैरिफिकेशन दूंगा? हरियाणा का बता दे. एजुकेशन मिनिस्टर का नाम बता दे. बाकी सब छोड़ देते हैं आज.
No, but RP Singh, no paper leak has happened. No paper leak has happened in Punjab according to them.
That's the problem. I mean, out of the 152 paper leaks which Mr. Rahul Gandhi mentioned, almost 40 were in the opposition rule states. That's why we want to bring in and club it to ensure that that doesn't happen again.
So Haryana 2016 clerk recruitment, excise inspector recruitment, HCS conductor recruitment,
Punjab की बात तो करो आप.
police constable.
Chirag Shetty, what about Punjab? One by one, please, one by one.
पंजाब में बताओ हुए नहीं हुए और पंजाब में हरजोत सिंह बैंस का वसीफा देगा.
वीडियो दिलवा दो. आपके तो इतने सारे स्टेट से एक का तो एजुकेशन मिनिस्टर ऐसा होगा जो कैमरा पे आके बोलेगा ये बात. हमारे ने तो बोल दिया, ओन अप किया कि हमारे यहाँ कुछ नहीं हुआ. आपके मिनिस्टर आके
that's not owning up, that's denying. How is that owning up? You are denying the leak.
ही नहीं, फार्मेसी एग्जाम में चीटिंग हुआ, उसका एक पूरा उन्होंने आके अपना बता दिया.
ब्लूटूथ से पेपर बाहर जा रहा था वो चीटिंग हुआ. ब्लूटूथ से पेपर बाहर लीक करके दे रहे थे वो चीटिंग हुआ. पूरा पेपर बाहर चला गया वो चीटिंग हुआ.
संजीव मुखिया की तरह नहीं कि यहाँ आया और सीबीआई ने क्लीन चिट दे दी कि हमें कुछ नहीं मिला इसके अगेंस्ट, इसको छोड़ दो 2024 के लिए. कितने बड़े-बड़े हमने पोस्टर लगाए थे कि देखो ये मास्टरमाइंड है। क्या हुआ संजीव
मुखिया है या नहीं है?
बताइए।
संजीव मुखिया जेल में है या नहीं?
10 बार वो पकड़ा जा चुका है।
काम डाउन। अगर क्लासरूम से पेपर बाहर गया, एग्जाम रूम से, हाउ इज दैट नॉट अ लीक?
Again,
what is this new definition of what a leak is?
Immediately they were arrested. Immediately it was stopped.
That is how. It's a leak. Admit it's a leak. That you yourself are saying it's going out of the classroom.
Somebody,
if you're admitting it, that is a leak, sir. Whether you call it cheating, no, so you arrested, but it's a leak. But it's a leak. You agree? You agree that the paper came out of the class exam room? You agree that the paper came out of the examination room? Yes or no?
Yes.
Why not you? I'm not asking you the question. A question is for you. Did it come out of the exam room? Did it come out of the examination room? Through Bluetooth it came out or not? Through Bluetooth it came out, yes or no?
The minute.
So how did it come out?
We got to know.
No, how did it come out? Through Bluetooth it was leaked.
No. There were people outside.
Chirag Sethi, you can't run behind semantics. This is the problem with Aam Aadmi Party. You want to seek accountability of your opponents, but you don't want to take any accountability.
First ones अपने health minister को
Amitabh Tiwari, you see a hypocrisy over here.
किसने किया?
1 second, do you see a hypocrisy in approach?
As you have shown that there has been paper leaks across the country. So whenever a paper leak is happening in some other state, then the opposition parties are raising that issue. When it is happening in their own then they are not raising that issue. That's why this exam reforms committee has been formed. And we are seeing that statements are being made to discredit the members of the exam reform committee. Correct? Because that's an important committee. It has very eminent people who will be looking into the entire process. So I think we need to also discuss on some issues and leave some issues like education out of the political and rhetorical debates.
All right. We'll have to completely leave it there. Out of time. R.P. Singh, Amitabh Tiwari, Ishkaran Bhandari, Vinkarmanda, Aruma Acharya, Chirag Sethi, Vivek Silas, Subodh Mohta. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us on this edition of the National Debate.